get the glory, we'll win the fight.
Hey guys, so today I wanted to do another kind of eating disorder related video. This is going to be all about orthorexia nervosa, and you may be wondering what is that, or you may know what it is, but it is basically the obsession with healthy or perfect eating. And this is something that I have dealt with in the past. It is another form of an eating disorder that not a lot of people really know about, but it is something that is very, very common nowadays, especially with the health industry and blogging and Instagram. We get all these like very health-focused people always like in our social media feed, and it can be kind of challenging for people that have gone through eating disorders. And I'll just give you a brief background on myself. I went through restrictive eating, which is more like anorexia. I was never diagnosed, but when I decided to recover and gain weight, I kind of told myself, okay, if I'm gonna gain weight, I wanna do it the healthy way. So I did my research, I learned a ton about nutrition, and then I became obsessed with eating healthy. So I wasn't as much obsessed with counting calories or being skinny anymore. I was just obsessed with clean eating and it being perfect and trying to find the perfect diet, whether it was paleo or vegan or grain-free or gluten-free or dairy-free. I started cutting out all these different food groups to where it became restrictive again, but I was obsessed with it being clean. No preservatives, no artificial sweeteners. It had to be perfect, and the perfect amount of this, and that. In a book that I think is really, really great for anyone dealing with this, or kind of to just explain what orthorexia is Health Food Junkies by Stephen Bratman. It's called Orthorexia Nervosa, Overcoming the Obsession with Healthy Eating. And he went through the same thing, and he coined the term orthorexia nervosa, and it is now an official eating disorder. It used to not be. There only used to be like 2 recognized eating disorders. It was bulimia and anorexia. Now we know that there's a lot of different forms of eating disorders, but I'm going to read to you basically what he describes orthorexia as. Okay, so the definition of orthorexia, it says, to express the realization, I coined the term orthorexia nervosa. It uses ortho, Greek, meaning straight, correct, and true, to modify anorexia nervosa. Orthorexia nervosa refers to a fixation on eating healthy food. So ortho means like pure, and it's kind of, you become obsessed with eating pure or perfectly. And it was, for me, it was kind of a way of shifting my anxiety and obsession from restricting. Once I took that out, I didn't have the control of that, so I needed to put it in something else, and it became orthorexia, which is obsessing over clean eating. And this book is amazing. He really talks about how to overcome that. And, you know, for me, I became scared of so many things. Like, you know, you hear vegans saying meat and dairy are bad, and then you hear paleo saying, no, eat your meat, and the gluten and the grains are bad. And you have all these contradicting things in the health world, and you really have to realize that there is no one perfect diet for everyone. Healthy is going to be different for everyone. It's going to be unique to you. Someone may be allergic to gluten, so being gluten-free is healthy for them. Someone may be allergic to dairy, so dairy-free can be healthy for them. But if you're not allergic to those things, there's no reason to cut them out of your diet just because other people are. A few ways to kind of tell if you do have orthorexia or you are obsessed with healthy eating. He actually asks the questions on the back of the book, and I think they are so perfect and spot on, and they were exactly what I would say to someone who was dealing with this, and they really helped me overcome it. This book is amazing, and I'm just gonna like keep rambling about this book, but I will read the questions to you. It says, do you care more about the virtue of what you eat rather than the pleasure you receive from eating it? And that is something to really think about. When you are choosing a food, are you thinking more about how many calories in it, how clean it is, what it came from, or are you thinking about how it's going to taste, how the pleasure of the food, you know, the different flavor combinations? If you're thinking more about what's in the food and like the makeup of the food as far as like the calories or the ingredients more than how it's going to taste, that is a sign that you may be obsessed with healthy eating. Maybe. Have you found that as the quality of your diet has increased, the quality of your life has correspondingly diminished? Now think about this. Being healthy and a healthy lifestyle should improve your quality of life. It should not take away from it. So if you have this fixation on healthy eating and it's keeping you from living your life and going out with friends and partaking in social activities, then your healthy obsession is taking away from your life. So that is a sign that you have an unhealthy relationship with food, because healthy eating should come naturally. It should be a lifestyle. It should be balanced. It should be just a second nature, and it shouldn't be something that you are obsessed with all the time. And I have gone through that, where I would not eat out with friends or family. I would avoid going to people's house because I didn't know what the food was going to be, and I would freak out at restaurants. And now I don't, because I know I can always order something that is somewhat healthy, as long as I'm not worried about it being perfect. And I know when I go out to eat, if I order grilled chicken and vegetables, it may not be organic, but it's a whole lot better than ordering pizza or a burger. So you kind of have to allow yourself some modifications. And if you're not allowing yourself those modifications, then that is another sign of orthorexia. The third question is, are you getting stricter with yourself? And getting stricter for yourself, for someone that is just starting a healthy lifestyle, that could be a great thing. If you go from eating McDonald's and now you're like, okay, I'm gonna cut out processed food, and then your next step is I'm gonna cut out soda, and then your next step is I'm gonna cut out dessert at night, then that could be a good thing for someone that is already really unhealthy. But if you are already a healthy person and you just keep getting stricter with yourself for no reason, like you're like, I'm gonna cut out gluten, and then you hear soy is bad, so you're gonna cut out soy, and then you hear artificial sweeteners are bad, so you're gonna cut that out. And then you hear from paleo people that legumes are bad, so you're gonna cut that out for no reason. Just because you heard that it is healthier, then that is a sign of orthorexia. I kept getting stricter and stricter with myself, and I would go back and forth between what is healthy and what is not. And you know, I started reading like the raw vegan diet, and I was like, well, that is the most pure. There's no gluten, dairy, grains, animal product, you know. It's crazy how restrictive you can get just by trying to be healthy, and it really messes with your mind. So you keep getting stricter with yourself for no reason. That is another sign of orthorexia. Okay, so the next question is, do you sacrifice experiences you've once enjoyed to eat the food you believe is right? And I definitely did this. That was, you know, things that you enjoyed with your family, like home-cooked meals or going out to ice cream with your friends. And you're not doing that just because you believe ice cream is bad now, or you believe sugar is bad, so you can't do that, or you believe pasta is bad, so you're not going to eat your mom's home-cooked spaghetti. Okay, so the next question that it asks is, do you feel an increased sense of self-esteem when you eat healthy food and superiority to others who don't? And now this is a big one. When you are kind of obsessed with healthy eating, it's almost like if you are eating healthier than others, you kind of judge them and you feel like you're better than them just because of the foods that you're eating. So when did the food that we eat determine our worth and if we're better than others? And it doesn't. But when you are obsessed with healthy eating, you get this satisfaction from eating healthier than other people or eating cleaner than other people, and you feel this like, it's a very self-righteous thing, and it shouldn't be like that. But I definitely remember when I was obsessed with healthy eating, I would make these like stupid comments to my family, like, oh, you're gonna eat that? Like, what? You know, and you know, people should not be judged for how they eat. I definitely encourage a healthy lifestyle, and I try to help my family when they want me to help them, but I don't force them to eat healthy. I remember I used to try to force things on them that I was doing, and that's a very unhealthy relationship with food, and it makes it very awkward for other people. And that is another sign of orthorexia. If you are constantly judging what other people are doing and comparing it to yourself, then you probably have a problem. Okay, so then the last question that the book asks is, do you feel guilt or self-loathing when you stray away from your diet? And I believe that guilt and food should never go together. And this is something that I've struggled with for a long time. And sometimes I still feel guilty if I eat something that's unhealthy or a big cheat meal. But now I'm trying to not think of cheat meals as cheats. If they are part of a healthy, balanced diet, they are really just treats. And when you shift your mind from a cheat to a treat, it really does take away that guilt. Because after you have a cheat meal, that word cheat, honestly, it makes you feel so bad about yourself. You're like, why did I just cheat myself? I just ruined my progress. I just ruined my healthy diet. I am gonna be fat, blah, 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 blah. And you have to remember, one bad meal will not make you fat, just like one healthy meal is not gonna make you fit. And that is something you have to remember, because, you know, you also have to remember that eating one bad thing, or if something's processed, it's not going to hurt you in small amounts. all these studies that we hear on like artificial sweeteners or saturated fats, trans fats or sugar, all that is in large quantities. If you're eating healthy and what is healthy for you, you have to find your balance. If you're eating healthy most of the time, one treat once in a while is not going to hurt you. Even a few times a week, like, it's not going to hurt you. These studies are done in large amounts, and I think when you are obsessed with healthy eating or you have orthorexia and you see these studies like saying artificial sweeteners cause cancer or trans fats give you heart attacks, these things are done in large quantities in these studies, and you take it to the extreme and you cut them out completely, and you freak out if you have them like once. And orthorexia is not all, you're not just worried about being skinny or how you look. It really is, you're fixated on it being healthy and good for you. And yeah, you should not feel guilty for eating something once in a while. If you find yourself constantly feeling guilty for things that you eat, that is definitely a problem, because you should not feel guilty for eating food. Food is fuel, whether it is healthy or not, and your body is either going to use that energy, or if it doesn't need that energy, then it's stored for later, and that is fine. Your body knows how to process things, and there are certain things that obviously I don't encourage eating, like preservatives and all that, but I don't freak out, and honestly I do eat them sometimes because I go out to eat and sometimes I don't know exactly what is in the food. But that is okay. I make the best decision that I can. And when I make my own food, I make it as healthy as I can. And I'm aware of things that go in my body, but I'm not overly aware anymore. And I think that is such a big difference. Be aware of what you're eating, but don't be too aware, because it can really mess up your mind. Okay, so if you think you are struggling with orthorexia, I really encourage you to read Health Food Junkies. This book helped me so much in kind of getting away with from the obsession of healthy eating. And my orthorexia kind of came after my restrictive eating disorder, so I think it's something that anyone can deal with. It's not just for people that are underweight. Anyone can be obsessed with healthy eating, especially in the world today. We see it a lot, like especially on social media, so I definitely recommend you pick up this book. It goes over so many things. It goes over what is orthorexia, a disease disguised as a virtue, the dangers of orthorexia, do you have orthorexia, hidden causes, food allergies and imperfections, the raw foods theory, macrobiotics, the zone, eat right for your type, the beer and pizza diet. These chapters just go over so many things. One of my favorite chapters was chapter 13, called the beer and pizza diet, and he tells a story about this girl who was obsessed with healthy eating, and her health was decreasing as she was eating healthier because her stress levels were so high. And her doctor said, you know what, you just need to have a piece of pizza and drink some beer. And she was like, what? I'm getting unhealthy, I'm getting worse, and you want me to eat pizza and beer? And he was like, yeah, you're too stressed out about eating healthy. So he had her for a few weeks go on the beer and pizza diet, and her health increased because she wasn't worried about eating healthy. And I love that chapter because it just shows that health is not all about food. A lot of it is about happiness and balance and not being so stressed about what you were eating, because if you were trying so hard to be healthy, it kind of defeats the purpose. So being too healthy can be bad sometimes if you are obsessed with it. And chapter 14 is about how well do extreme diets work, and it talks about people that go on extreme diets and then end up falling off the bandwagon and end up being worse than before. And then the third part of the book, there's like 4 chapters all about recovery, and it's about the steps, identifying hidden agendas, eating healthy without obsession, finding the middle way. And finding that middle ground is such a huge part about getting over orthorexia. You can be healthy without being on one extreme or the other. And I think people that have orthorexia are, like I did, tend to be perfectionists, and I am a perfectionist. Sometimes I see things as black or white, and it's never black or white. It's always the gray area. And you do not have to eat perfectly to be healthy. And that is such a huge thing that you have to realize. And normal people realize that, but when you are obsessed with healthy eating, you don't realize that. You think you have to find the perfect way, and there is no perfect way. And then the last chapter is all about being friends with someone that has orthorexia and when to intervene and when to kind of butt in and tell them that they need help. And that is such a big thing. I encourage you, if you know someone that is going through it, going through an eating problem, please intervene. That is such a huge thing. They are not gonna like it at first, and they're probably gonna be really offended, and I know I was, but I'm so thankful that I have family and friends that are there for me and that were very supportive. But sometimes they're not always gonna ask for help. So if you know someone that is struggling, please try to help them and tell them that they have a problem. Because it is something they don't realize. When you are so focused on it, your mind does not function properly. You do not want anyone else's opinion on that, but they need it. So anyways, I think this book is such an amazing book, and I think anyone that is dealing with it should go read it. So that is it for this Talk Tuesday video. I know it was kind of rambly, but I think orthorexia is such a problem nowadays, and a lot of people don't know about it, and I wanted to come on here and give you my thoughts about it. And oh my gosh, it's so loud outside. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave any other requests in the comments down below. Let me know if you like these kind of videos, and I will keep making them. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye!
And I will show you